Hello and welcome to the Evercade Retreat. Today I'm talking about and giving a brief overview and thoughts on the new game of the month, Murtop. Developed by Wheelit, I probably said that completely wrong. Murtop is an arcade style game, much like Donut Dodo. It's based on games from the early 80s and it takes a lot of inspiration from them. Also like Donut Dodo, it was developed in the Godot engine, therefore is a native game on the Evercade. This is a game that many people have been asking for or suggesting as a potential game of the month. And yeah, I can see why. It's very much Dig Dug meets Bomberman. I mean, they even say that in their blurb on their various sites. So I think there's no getting away from that. And I think as soon as you see the visuals and start playing it, you realise how accurate that is. And it's a good combination. Now, I haven't spent a huge amount of time playing it yet, but I think you can see straight away what kind of game it is. And really, it's one of those games that within the first couple of minutes, you know exactly what you're in for throughout the game. And from there, it's really about getting good and pushing your score higher. It's said to have 256 levels, some bonus stages, and also has a QR code for leaderboards, which I tested and seems to work perfectly fine. Very simple to use, potentially more Evercade games could do this. So yeah, early impressions are really good. Seems to be like could get quite challenging. I've made it through 5 of 256 levels, so either I suck or there's a lot to it, but I'm sure once I'm a bit more practice I'll be able to get a bit further, maybe. Anyway, that's about all I can really say about Murtop. It is a fun game and I think it's going to be a good addition to the Indie Heroes Collection 4 when it comes out. But speaking of Indie Heroes 4, it's not so long ago people were saying that it's going to be the worst Indie Heroes collection yet and the games have been terrible and so on and so forth. And I can kind of see that. I mean, Blaze did state, and again, if you're not on the Discord or following their social medias, you probably would know this, but they did say early on that they would be taking a different approach on how they release the games. On previous Game of the Month, they often released the best game first, and then from then it was a bit downhill, and you have the peaks and valleys of the qualities of the games. And instead, they've basically turned it on its head. So I can see why from the earlier games some people would think that it's going to be a bad collection. But is it? Well, let's have a look. The first Game of the Month for this season, or for this Indie Heroes collection, was The Curse of Ilmore Bay, which was quite a nice looking sort of platform action game by Second Dimension. The only downside to it that I found, or the main downside, was the hit detection and the range of your character's attack. And that really kind of hampered my enjoyment of the game. And yeah, it wasn't brilliant. It felt like there's a little bit of jank in there with sometimes the music being a bit fast or slow, but I think that's stuff that's in the game rather than an Evercade issue. Even so, it's a reasonable addition, but not amazing. I'm not sure if I'm remembering the order of these correctly. There was also Block'em Sock'em by John Riggs. No, or John Hancock rather, sorry. Anyway, a fairly simple puzzle game and would have been one of those games that wouldn't please a lot of people, but people that like puzzle games could have some fun with it. The problem is, it is basically broken and buggy and janky as all hell. And yeah, hopefully that's fixed for the cartridge release, because I just stopped playing it because it was so buggy. And there was Nightmare, I'm sure there's a subtitle to it, which was a Game Boy Advance sort of Castlevania-alike, where you could choose between the two different characters. It had some quite nice visuals for the Game Boy, not Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, sorry. And yeah, there's some nice designs in there. The ideas were there, but the controls were sluggish and awkward. The music was absolutely bloody awful. Well, some of it was okay. Overall, wasn't completely terrible, but definitely a flawed game. And then there was the Jane Fonda game, Stone Cold Jane Austen game, or Jane Austen's 8-bit adventure, which was a pretty fun NES platformer. Not amazing, but perfectly solid. Did outstay its welcome a little bit in my opinion, but it was a fun little game. A perfectly mid-range title for the collection. Collie Defense was almost like a real-time strategy or tower defense type thing. Yeah, sorry, tower defense, not real-time strategy. And it was way too basic and felt more like a prototype than anything else. So yeah, not a good one there. But aside from those, we have had Soko Banana, which was a good puzzle game if you like those, and Flea 2, which was absolutely brilliant. Again, I know some people aren't a fan, but I thought it was a brilliant game. I finished it within 24 hours of release. Bit of a challenge, but I was determined to do it. And Batty Isabella seems pretty good. I haven't really played much of it, to be perfectly honest. I've not been in the mood for that sort of game. And there's been loads of new cards coming out, so I got a bit distracted. So I think that's all the games that have been Game of the Month this year. There will be a few more added when it comes to being released in February, or at least based on previous years there will be. Now, to be perfectly honest, I don't anticipate those being top-notch games, or comparing with Murtop and Soko Banana and Flea 2. But hey, maybe they will. You never know what they got in store. So my thinking is that Indie Heroes 4 is potentially shaping up to be pretty good, as long as you like these types of games. You know, you've got your arcade, you've got your puzzle, and that's not going to please everyone, I'm sure. It could really do with a shoot 'em up, couldn't it? Like a good, fast-paced, frantic action game or something. Is that asking too much? Maybe. I will be buying this collection because I buy all the carts. And I think all in all it could well stand toe to toe against the other Indie Heroes collections. Will it be the best or the worst? Really hard to say, but I think there's enough quality games on there to offset the weaker ones. But it'll be interesting to see what else they do add into the mix for the cartridge release. I think that's enough for this video. I'll leave you with some gameplay. You can watch it or not, see how badly I suck at this game even after a few tries. Anyway, I will see you in the next video, whenever that might be. I'm just recovering from a nasty cold, so I've been a bit sluggish for the last few days and getting things done.